The Chargers have hired Jim Harbaugh. Let's talk about it. All right, first thing is first. I think this is not only a home run hire for the Chargers, this is already, with jobs still open and the head coaching cycle still, well underway, this is already the best hire of the head coaching cycle flat out, period. No team is going to hire a better head coach than right now what the Chargers just did in landing Jim Harbaugh. So first and foremost, Chargers, standing ovation. Good for you, man. I'm serious. Good for the Chargers. I was not sold that they were going to pony up the money, and we'll get to that here in a second, that it took to get to Jim Harbaugh to town. But they did it. And they deserve a lot of credit for that. So congratulations to the Chargers for landing the best head coach, not only available. I think Harbaugh is better than Vrabel, better than Bill Belichick at this point for what teams need. I think he was the number one coaching candidate out there right now on the market. So congrats to the Chargers for getting him, but also too, congrats to the Chargers. And the reason why I think already we could say the best hire this coaching cycle has been made was because Harbaugh fits exactly what the Chargers need. The Chargers are in a rebuild. Let's first and foremost acknowledge that. The Chargers as a team, Jim Harbaugh's taken over. They are in a rebuild. This is a team that, yes, has a quarterback, but has nothing else. And I think if anything, what we've seen in this NFL season is that you can win when you don't have a quarterback, but you have everything else secured. Good run game, good receivers, good offensive line, good defense. But you can't win when you have a quarterback and nothing else. The Chargers are the prime example of that. So even though you have Justin Herbert, this is still a rebuild. And that's, I think, why Jim Harbaugh was hired by the Chargers. It wasn't to take them to the playoffs next year. The Chargers are not a playoff team in 2024. Jim is not coming in and in year one winning 12 games. That's not a slight on Jim Harbaugh. That's a reality of where this roster is. Because while you have the quarterback in Herbert, you don't have really anything else around him. Look at the roster. Keenan Allen is going to be 32 years old by the time week one comes. Your best receiver, your number one receiver, is on the wrong side of 30. The 1A to Keenan Allen is Mike Williams, who's never hurt. The 1B is Quentin Johnston, who is also always hurt. And then when he's on the field, can't catch a pass. So your top three receivers are either old, hurt, or can't catch. Not exactly the recipe for success in 2024 and beyond. Your tight end is irrelevant in terms of Gerald Everett's nice, but he's not the standout player you need at that position to make a true difference. And Austin Eckler's probably gone. Worst year of his career. Obviously has the frustrations with trying to get a contract, and the Chargers did not give him one. So I think Austin Eckler, and I expect Austin Eckler to be on a different team in 2024. Offensive line has some pieces, but also other areas that could be improved as well. So if you look at this Chargers just offense, I would argue 7, 8 of the 11 offensive positions can be upgraded and or need to be replaced. You're not winning 12 games with all of that going against you right now, with all those areas of improvement still needing to happen. So this is a rebuild. All right, also, look at the defense. Defense stinks, age, getting older, and banged up. This Chargers team needs a total flip. But that's also the good news, and that's also why Harbaugh is being brought in, because while I think a lot of players need to be replaced before the Chargers can be taken seriously, the Chargers also need an identity change. And that comes with bringing the Harbaugh-type players in. And I don't think there are a lot of Harbaugh-type players right now on the Chargers. Because the one thing the Chargers have been missing now for years, for really decades, that Harbaugh brings is toughness. Toughness. Harbaugh's won everywhere he's gone. College, NFL, Michigan, we just saw, and the 49ers before that. He got to the Super Bowl with San Francisco and just won a national title with Michigan, in large part because of the culture he's built on the foundation of toughness. You need to be a tough team in order to win. It's still the NFL. Quarterback wins, offense wins, yes. But you in the trenches, on defense, but just an overall team philosophy, you got to be tough. And that's one thing we definitely could not say about the Chargers in this iteration, in previous years as well, in previous generations as well. They've never been a tough team. They've always been finesse. They've always been one of those need the perfect conditions. They've always been one of those let's turn into a track meet, but as soon as it turns into a heavyweight bout, we're screwed. Harbaugh brings toughness, which is something the Chargers have been lacking for decades now. And that's been, I think, one of the reasons why they've always underachieved almost it feels like every year. But we talk about the Chargers roster as always one of the best. Look at all these flashy names and good players. Oh my God, this is going to be the year they finally put it together. And each and every year, whether it's falling short of making the playoffs or once they make the playoffs, falling short of the Super Bowl, despite being a very talented team, one of the reasons why that always happens is because they are not a tough team. And toughness wins in the playoffs, and that is what Jim Harbaugh brings. So, in a way, it's almost a good thing that the Chargers are in a rebuild because, number one, you are getting Harbaugh players in. Number two, you are establishing by swapping out the old and bringing in the new a culture of toughness that this team did not have. Like, I don't think you can just sit there and tell the current players, hey, be tough. Hey, Khalil Mack, be tough. Austin Eckler, be tough. Mike Williams, be tough. That's not something you can just instill on current players. I think you either have it or you don't. And you need to look for those players, if you don't have it, in the draft, in free agency, and trades. So I think because of what Harbaugh needs in order to succeed, which is toughness on his team, toughness in the trenches, toughness on defense, I think he's going to achieve that through the draft, through free agency, through trades, which means overhauling a large part of this roster, which goes back to the main point of this is a rebuild. The Chargers are a rebuild. They are not ready to compete here in 2024 for the playoffs, which again, if your expectations are where they should be, that is no problem. It's about the long haul, not about just having a turnaround here in 2024. So that first and foremost is something that you look at with the Chargers and say, rebuild, but you're in good hands. And you're in good hands for a rebuild because I agree with what Jim's brother John said when he was talking to Adam Schefter a few weeks ago, when John Harbaugh called his brother Jim the best builder in the NFL. I can't argue that right now. Or, sorry, he said the best builder in football. Best builder in football. I can't say he's wrong. And look at what he did to Michigan. Look at how quickly he was able to turn Michigan around, or 2019, 2020, suppressing times. And all of a sudden, they're tough, they're physical, and they all of a sudden now start to smash teams, including Ohio State. Harbaugh built a roster that was almost flawless for 3 years at Michigan, won a ton of games, beat Ohio State, and now finally won a national title. If I'm the Chargers, there's no one I trust more to rebuild my roster right now around Justin Herbert more than Jim Harbaugh. Look at the talent in Tennessee. I like Mike Vrabel as head coach. Do I trust Mike Vrabel to fully rebuild this roster in a quick and efficient way? I got questions about that. I definitely don't trust Bill Belichick to do that with his track record with the Patriots and swings and misses he's had in the draft, especially on the offensive side. I wouldn't trust Bill to build my team, especially my offense now, to basically redo it all. Harbaugh's the only guy I trust. And that's part of the reason why this is a home run hire and the best hire we are going to see made this cycle. Jim is a builder. He's going to instill toughness. He's going to get the right guys in there. He's a really good talent evaluator as well. He's a really good developer of talent. Look at Michigan's draft recruiting classes. They were never top 5 in college football. He didn't get a ton of 5-star recruits to Ann Arbor. What he did, though, better than almost any coach in college football, was develop. Take that 3-star guy and have him play by the end of his career like a 5-star guy. So again, if you're the Chargers, you got to feel good about Harbaugh coming in, instilling a culture that's been missing, building your team correctly, and also getting the most juice for the squeeze. Making sure that whoever you do bring in, they're going to play to their max ability. That's why I love this hire, and that's why, again, even with the Seahawks open, the Commanders open, the Falcons open, the Panthers open, as we record this, it's why I can already say with jobs still open, the Chargers have already and easily made the best hire we will see this cycle. And you know what? The Chargers deserve credit as well. They have, rightfully so, the Spanos family been called cheap. They're not willing to pay the money for the best coaches, not ready to pay the money for the best facilities. Like, money has always been a bigger question and sometimes has outweighed doing what's right to win. And I don't think they are hiring Jim Harbaugh and signing up for that experience, nor do I think Jim Harbaugh is signing up for the Chargers to go coach them if there was not a financial commitment, not only to Jim, but to the team, to his coaching staff, to doing whatever it takes to make sure the Chargers have a chance to win. I don't think Jim's just taking that job blindly. And so I think he received a financial commitment from the Spanos family that they're going to support Jim in whatever way they can to make sure he has everything he needs to win. And that was something that I was not sold the Spanos family would do, to be quite honest with you. They have not given you a reason to believe that they will not allow money to dictate their decision-making. And it seems like for the first time, they're actually doing that. So they deserve credit. They deserve credit for finally putting their money where their mouth is and now actually not just saying, hey, we want to compete and win, but actually doing it. Actually spending the money. Actually putting the money on the table and saying, we are here to win. Let's go. So I give them credit. They deserve credit, and so I'm going to give it to them here for finally ponying up. Long overdue. Better late than never, though. It finally does happen. I think the Chargers, in hiring Jim Harbaugh, are also signaling to their fans, hey, we are now financially committed to winning for the first time. You can say, oh, we paid Justin Herbert, etc. They have never financially been all in to win before this point. They, though, are now. So with that said, when it comes to winning, let's just look at some predictions here. Again, I don't think the Chargers are making the playoffs next year. They're not winning 12 games in year one under Jim Harbaugh. Going forward, though, I think it's going to be a slow build, but a steady build to where the Chargers in 2 or 3 years, I think we will be talking about the Chargers in 2026 as legitimate AFC West contenders. And we probably are talking about them as the favorites to win that division. It's going to happen soon. It may happen this offseason, may happen next offseason, 2 or 3 years now down the line. But Andy Reid is not going to be coaching the Chiefs forever. Travis Kelce is not going to be the Chiefs tight end for forever. Now, it looks like they have a nice receiver that's developing really well in Rashee Rice. But you have Patrick Mahomes, stud. He's going nowhere. But if the Chiefs can't hit on the next head coach, or I should say it's going to be really hard to hit and go from Andy to whoever, it's not going to be very seamless. And once Travis Kelce leaves, even though he kind of took a step back this year, that's still going to be a massive loss for that Chiefs offense. The Chiefs are going to be vulnerable. And that's where the Chargers, I think, are really planning for. 2026, we will be talking about the Chargers as the AFC West favorites. I think they're going to build themselves in a way where they're absolutely going to, for the first time, not just on paper, not just with their mouths, but actually truly be real contenders to win games and be real Super Bowl contenders, not just paper tigers like they've been in the past. I'm not going to sit here and guarantee Super Bowl. I think the Chargers, since their last Super Bowl appearance in 1994, are by far right now, with Jim Harbaugh on their sidelines, in the best position to make the Super Bowl. Better than at any point in Philip Rivers' career, better than at any point right now in Justin Herbert's career. This is the best chance in 30 years for the Chargers to make the Super Bowl now that they have Jim Harbaugh on their sideline. But the AFC is difficult, and it's really damn deep. I'm not going to guarantee they make one and win one. I will, though, guarantee that they're in the best spot they've been in 30 years. That is a start. And they are absolutely, I think, going to be right now in legitimate division contention starting in 2025, which is massive for this team going forward here and a huge momentum builder as they really go chase that Lombardi trophy for the first time in their franchise history. So, best hire, I think, of the cycle. Jim Harbaugh is the best fit for what the Chargers need because they're in a rebuild and he's a builder. He's an elite builder. I think really, really bright days are ahead here for the Chargers. So those are really my big thoughts. Love the hire, love the fit, but I don't think it's one where you're going to see instant rewards from Harbaugh in year number one. And that's okay. Be patient, Chargers fans, and be realistic. Just because you have Herbert does not mean you are a Super Bowl contender. You need a lot of help around him, and Jim's going to need time in order to get that proper and legitimate help around your franchise quarterback. If you like what you hear, hopefully you do, make sure you subscribe and download the Hick at Night podcast, Night spelled N-I-T-E. It's where you can find all the work I do in CBS Sports Radio, along with nights like these where, hey, big news happens. I'm here to talk about it. One way to stay in the loop audio-wise, Hick at Night podcast, available wherever you do get your podcasts. Also, not to mention the now moved to Sunday night show that I host on CBS Sports Radio weekly, 10 p.m. Eastern and 2 a.m. Eastern, every single Sunday. I think I said Saturday before. Sunday night. Sorry about that. Every single Sunday night. If you missed the show, no problem. So you can also catch up on the podcast feed, and also make sure visually to subscribe to YouTube. Ryan Hickey is the channel name. A lot of video content posted there as well. So congratulations to the Chargers. Absolute home run hire in landing Jim Harbaugh.